Okay, students. Now this is my sixth presentation on the subject International Finance. So myself, Dr. Dakshayani, working as an assistant professor in Government First Grade College, Rajajinagar. So in this sixth PowerPoint presentation, I'm going to discuss about international monetary system and also international monetary funds. So before moving on to the international monetary funds, let me discuss about the international monetary system. So what is this international monetary system? A successful exchange rate system is needed to stabilize the international payment system. So international payment system now stabilize madodike we require a successful exchange rate system. An exchange rate system, it needs to fulfill three conditions. So world exchange rate system should always fulfill three important conditions. What are those three important conditions? First one, balance of payments deficits or surplus by individual countries should not be large. ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ BOP, that is balance of payment deficit, shortage ಅಥವಾ surplus by any individual countries should not be large, ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರಕೂಡದು ಆಯಿತಾ. These deficits should be corrected in such a way that it does not cause inflation. ಇದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಕರೆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಈ ಡೆಫಿಸಿಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ, ಇಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಕಾಸ್ ಎನಿ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಆನ್ ಟ್ರೇಡ್ and payments for either the individual country or for the whole world. Okay, so this is the second point, that is the deficit should be corrected in such a way that it does not cause any inflation on trade and payments for either the individual country or the whole world. The maximum sustainable expansion of trade and other international economic activities should be facilitated. So facilitated, what do you mean by that? That is the sustainable expansion of trade. Whenever we are ensuring maximum sustainable expansion of trade and other international economic activities, it should be facilitated. So these are the important needs to be fulfilled, or the conditions to be fulfilled in order to have a good exchange rate system in international monetary system. Now moving on to the next topic, that is International Monetary Fund. So what is this International Monetary Fund? That is, it is given the responsibility of what? Collecting and allocating reserves. So what is the main role of IMF? To collect and allocate the reserves. And apart from that, it is also given the role of three things. Okay, the first one you have is supervising the adjustable peg system. That is, it is concerned with supervising what? Adjustable peg system. What do you mean by this peg system? So it is nothing but controlling country's currency rate, okay, by tying it to another country's currency. Okay, so this is called as peg system. I am repeating, students. Peg system is nothing but what? Controlling country's currency rate. Okay, one country the currency rate na control ಮಾಡೋದು. How? By tying it with another country's currency. Okay, this is called as peg system. Second role is offering advice to the member countries on their international monetary affairs. So member countries ge international monetary affairs ಬಗ್ಗೆ advice ಕೊಡೋದು. Okay, then third one is promoting research in different areas of monetary and international economics. So you have to conduct that is promoting research in various monetary and international economics. So these are the other role played by what? International Monetary Fund. So under this International Monetary Fund, we need to discuss some of the important terms. Okay, how this International Monetary Fund has emerged and has given rise to the economic development of the country as such, stage by stage. Okay, the first one you have is gold standard. This existed between the period of 1876 to 1913. Okay, the gold standard. So from the ancient times, gold has been used as a medium of exchange, as it is a durable, portable and easily tradable. This all of you know that in the ancient times gold was considered to be a medium of exchange. ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂದರೆ it is durable, portable, ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು and then ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಟ್ರೇಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ. Increase in trade activity during the free trade period, that is during 19th century, it led to the need for more formalized system for selling business transactions. So the second one is that increase in trade activity ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದಾಗ ಯಾವಾಗ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ದ ಪೀರಿಯಡ್ ಆಫ್ 19th century it has led to the need for more formalized system for selling business transactions. ಸೊ ಇನ್ನೂ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ಒಂದು ಫಾರ್ಮಲೈಸ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ನ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಡಿಸೈಡೆಡ್. This made gold desirable to be used as a standard to determine the value of currency. ಆಗ ಆ ಪೀರಿಯಡಲ್ಲಿ so they considered that gold can be considered as a standard for the purpose of determining the value of the currency. So during this period the country's currency can be determined with the help of what? Keeping gold as a standard. Okay. The next one you have is the rules of the game. What is the basic condition of this gold period is that under this were that each country would establish the rate at which its currency could be converted into weights of gold. So here I told you gold is considered to be a standard for the purpose of measuring the currency of a particular country. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ they try to establish the rate. So ಒಂದು ರೇಟ್ನ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡ್ರು at which the currency could be converted into weights of gold. Then each country's government agreed to buy or sell gold at its own fixed rate of demand. So ಆವಾಗ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, every country they started to buy or sell gold at their own fixed rate of demand. So each country had to maintain. So ಇಂಥ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ every country had to maintain what? Adequate reserve of gold in order to back its currency's value. So currency valueನ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ every country had to compulsorily maintain a reserve, gold reserve. Okay. So there was a limit to the rate at which an individual country could expand its supply of money. So money supply can be that is controlled or expanded provided there is a particular limit at the rate at which each individual country could expand its supply of money. So this is all regarding what? The gold standard, students. Okay. So now let us go through what are the advantages of this gold standard. The first advantage is that it provides stable exchange rates. So the gold standard provides stable exchange rate which were conducive, that is comfortable enough for trade policy because it eliminates another source of price instability. So ಬೇರೆ ಥರದ price instabilityನ it is going to avoid. That is why we say that it is considered to be the most stable exchange rate. Second advantage is that it ensures automatic adjustment of balance of payment problem through price changes. So price ಏನೇ change ಆದ್ರೂ efficiently we can make certain adjustment with regard to balance of payment by maintaining sufficient gold reserves. It restricts governments from resorting to indiscriminate spending. So indiscriminate spending can be avoided by the government with the help of this gold standard. So moving on to the disadvantages, the gold standards was dependent on what? Adequate supply and not excess supply of new gold. So here we have to keep in mind that we are not concentrating on the concept of excess supply of new gold, but it is dependent upon what? Adequate supply of a new gold. So the mining process of gold involves huge costs. So it is very difficult to maintain gold reserves, students, because the mining itself is very expensive and it is used as a reserve only. And there is unequal geographical distribution of gold throughout the world. So if one country is rich in gold resources, the other country, it is not necessary that the other country also should be good in gold resources. So that is why we say that the countries which have greater gold reserves, they enjoy greater strength and thus they can maintain what? Good gold reserves in order to overcome the balance of payments. So this is all about this gold standards. The next concept that we have to discuss is interwar years, which existed during the period 1914 to 1944. The gold standards worked adequately till World War I. So ಈ ಗೋಲ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಏನಿತ್ತು, ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ದ ಪೀರಿಯಡ್ ಆಫ್ World War I. Subsequently, it broke down during World War I but was again put to practice from 1925 to 31. So it gained its importance from the period 1925 to 31. So under this standard, the US England could hold only gold reserves. So interwar period alli what they say is only US England could hold only the gold reserves, but other nations could hold gold and dollar pounds as reserves. So this is the main difference between the gold standards and interwar years. So gold standards alli every country according to their capacity or availability of the gold, that is they can maintain the gold reserves. Illi US matra they can maintain gold reserves, but other nations could hold gold and dollars or even the pounds as reserves. Okay. The next one you have is the Bretton Woods system, which existed during 1945 to 1971. So in 1944, a conference was held at Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, that is in US, in which each participating government they agreed to maintain a fixed exchange rate for its currency in comparison to dollar or gold. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಂದರೆ, ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ದೇ ಡಿಸೈಡೆಡ್ ಈಸ್ ಟು ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಎ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಚೇಂಜ್ ರೇಟ್. ಸೊ ಒಂದು ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಚೇಂಜ್ ರೇಟನ್ನ ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡ್ರು ಫಾರ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಕರೆನ್ಸಿ, ವೇರ್ ಇನ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಎ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಚೇಂಜ್ ರೇಟ್ ಇನ್ ಕಂಪ್ಯಾರಿಸನ್ ಟು ವಾಟ್, ಐದರ್ ಟು ಡಾಲರ್ or to gold. So they are comparing it either to dollar or to gold. It is said that 1 ounce of gold was set equal to $35. Okay, this is how they have fixed up the rate, exchange rate. Thus, fixing a currency's gold price was equivalent to setting its exchange rate relatively to the dollar. So this is how they started maintaining a fixed exchange rate for its currency either in terms of dollar or in terms of gold in case of Bretton Woods system. The next another important period was the Smithsonian Agreement, which existed between 1971 to 1973. So from August to December 1971, most of the major currencies were allowed to fluctuate. So during this period, major currencies were allowed to fluctuate. Andre change ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. The US dollar, it fell in value against a number of major currencies. So ಬೇರೆ currenciesಗೆ compare ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ US dollar fell in its value. Several countries imposed trade and exchange controls, causing major concerns. Okay, so it was feared. So ಏನು ಭಯ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂದರೆ that such protective measures may limit the international trade. So they had a fear that all these measures are definitely going to affect or limit the international trade. So in order to solve these problems, so the world's leading trading countries, they called the group of 10, signed an agreement on 18th December 1971. So avaga they entered into an agreement. The agreement established a new set of exchange rates. So e agreement prakara, group of 10 agreement prakara, there was a new set of exchange rates. The dollar was devalued to 1/38 of an ounce of gold, and other currencies were revalued by agreed amounts of dollars. So this is how they started revaluating the value of the currency. It was proposed that the new system would reduce economic volatility andrenu changes and facilitate free trade, but it failed miserably. So idu kuda fail aitu. Why? Because they could not bring about any stability, and thus this agreement came to an end in March 1973. So that is how the Smithsonian Agreement came to an end. And let us discuss about the post 1973, that is during this and after this 1971 to 1973 period, that is Smithsonian Agreement. Now let us discuss what happened during 1973. So the fixed rate system was replaced by floating exchange rate system. So e period alli floating exchange rate system was brought into existence or came into existence. However, there are 5 different market mechanisms for establishing exchange rates. So exchange rate na establish madodikoskara there were 5 mechanisms. First one is called as free float. What do you mean by free float? exchange rates are determined by the interaction of currency supplies and demands. So currency supply ಮತ್ತು ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಹೇಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ನೋಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಅದ್ರ ಪ್ರಕಾರ they are going to determine what exchange rate. Example, in India there are more imports from America, so there will be more demand for American dollars. So if the exports are less as compared to imports, there will be a gap in demand and supply of dollars. So ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ಸು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರಬೇಕು ಇಂಪೋರ್ಟ್ಸ್ಗಿಂತ. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಆವಾಗ ಗ್ಯಾಪು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಅ ಗ್ಯಾಪ್ ಇನ್ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಆಫ್ ಡಾಲರ್ಸ್ ಲೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಫ್ಲಕ್ಚುಯೇಷನ್ ಇನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಚೇಂಜ್ ರೇಟ್. ಆವಾಗ ಗ್ಯಾಪ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದಾಗ ಫ್ಲಕ್ಚುಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಚೇಂಜ್ ರೇಟಲ್ಲಿ. ಓಕೆ, ದಿಸ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ವಾಟ್? ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಫ್ಲೋಟ್. ಇದನ್ನು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಏನಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ? ಫ್ರೀ ಫ್ಲೋಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ವಾಟ್? ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಫ್ಲೋಟ್. The second one you have is managed float. When the central bank of a country interferes in the determination of exchange rates. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ಡಿಟರ್ಮೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಚೇಂಜ್ ರೇಟು? ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್. So as to smoothen the exchange rate fluctuations. So exchange rate fluctuations ಏನೇ ಇದ್ರೂ ಅದನ್ನು ಸ್ಮೂತನ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ the central bank is interfering, and it is also called as managed ಅಥವಾ dirty float system. The first system was called as a clean system, and this managed float is called as a dirty float system. The third one you have is target zone agreement. So countries adjust their economic policies to control the variations in the exchange rates. ಸೊ ಏನೇ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಚೇಂಜ್ ರೇಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೂ ಅದನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ದೇ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಬೈ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ದೇರ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಪಾಲಿಸೀಸ್. ಸೊ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಪಾಲಿಸೀಸ್ನ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತಾ ಹೋದರೆ ದೆನ್ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಓವರ್ ದ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಚೇಂಜ್ ರೇಟ್. So within a margin agreed upon. So particular margin idkondo they are going to decide about the control. This system exists in Europe, US, Japan and Germany, only in developed countries. Fixed rate system. The government of the countries where such a system exists, they maintain the exchange rate by actively buying and selling their currencies in the foreign market whenever their exchange rates fluctuate from the stated par value. So ಏನಾದರೂ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಚೇಂಜ್ ರೇಟು it keeps on fluctuating from the face value, then the government of the countries of a particular country where such a system exists, ಯಾವುದು ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ರೇಟ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೋ they maintain exchange rate by actively buying and selling their currencies in the foreign market. The next one, fifth one you have is current hybrid system. This is the last one. The current international monetary system is a hybrid with major currencies floating on a managed basis. So here major currencies will be floating on a managed basis. Some freely floating and moving from a target zone to a fixed rate system. So ಕೆಲವು ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ ರೇಟ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮಿಂದ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ರೇಟ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಗೆ ಫ್ಲೋಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೈ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಎ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಹೈಬ್ರಿಡ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಮಾನಿಟರಿ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಏನು ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೋ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ಡ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಎ ಹೈಬ್ರಿಡ್ ವಿತ್ ಮೇಜರ್ ಕರೆನ್ಸೀಸ್ ಫ್ಲೋಟಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ಎ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಡ್ ಬೇಸಿಸ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಸಮ್ ಫ್ರೀಲಿ ಫ್ಲೋಟಿಂಗ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮೂವಿಂಗ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಎ ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ ಝೋನ್ ಟು ಎ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ rate system. So students, these are the 5 different market mechanisms for establishing what? Exchange rates. So with this we'll end with the topic, that is international monetary system and international monetary fund. Okay, I hope you all have understood this topic, students. Okay, thank you.